Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about the first place I got in the Columbus Bass Club's first event of the season. That was on February 25th, 2023, which was yesterday. I'm doing the video on February 26th. Told you a lot of guys I was going to go live. I tried to go live. It didn't quite work out, so we're going to try that again. I'm going to try it. Hopefully I'll get out in the pits and I'll get to try it out and hopefully see if I can get it figured out a little better. Exactly how to go live and connect the GoPro to the data a little better. Done it from the house, but then I got out there and I couldn't get it to work, so I didn't get to go live. So anybody was looking forward to that, sorry I didn't get that to work, but you're going to get to see some of the footage here of how the tournament was won. And I'll kind of explain the adjustments I made. You could have seen them as a little water live, but I didn't get a chance to get that live. So I'll go over, I'm going to break it down, the adjustments I made, what we caught them on, all that good stuff, show you guys what pit we fished. We fished North 22, which is Powerline pit is what it's called. And we had a pretty good turnout for the first event, so it was a really good event, and it was a pretty wild event. I'll get into that. But before I get into that, if you guys would, if you're not a subscriber yet, if you're new to watching the channel, if this is your first video, or if you've been watching the videos and you're not a subscriber, if you guys would, just please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. That is my ultimate goal, and then we can grow from there. I was wanting to hit 750 by the end of the month, but things have been pretty slow here. Had a lot of sporting events going on with my son, and I was practicing youth basketball, so things have been a little busy, getting videos up, getting pit breakdowns up for you guys. I'm trying to do some tournament breakdowns from the past. Got a BFL coming up this weekend, so I've been down on Grand Lake, so it's been a pretty busy weekend for me. Busy past couple weeks. Had 3 tackle shows I went to in the past month, 2 helping out my sponsors. So it's been very busy. So, okay, let's get into the pit. Okay, the pit, we drew North 22 Powerline, which I just absolutely despise of. I've fished multiple events in there. I know I fished 2 Columbus Bass Club events in there. I don't even know if it was a club yet. Yes, it was Columbus. No, it wasn't Columbus Bass Club, because last year was the first Columbus Bass Club event, or year we had, so it was before the Columbus Bass Club. But the last event I did fish in there, it was in October of 2021, I believe it was. And we did win that one, but in the past, I never really done no good. I still don't like it very well. My partner won that one for me in that one too. So, and that's pretty much the case in this one too. He won that one, but I got them figured out what they're doing. We had a great combination together. What we was throwing, guys, before I get into breaking everything down here, I was throwing a Mega Bass Vision 110 Pro Blue. That's the exact same one. I don't know if you can get good clarity of it there, but if you can see it, it is just all beat up. I was down on Grand Lake throwing it today too, catching them on it. And that thing has just been a fish catching machine. I probably caught over 100 bass on that thing. So it's been a good jerkbait for me. Very reliable. That Pro Blue Vision 110 Mega Bass has been phenomenal. I tried throwing a swim bait. I tried throwing a crankbait. I did catch one on a Spro Rock Crawler. I don't know exactly what color it was. I only caught one on it. It was kind of a mistake. It was just suspended out there. I'll get into that later. And then Kyler actually caught him on the Ned rig. That was his idea. I didn't even think about throwing it. He was throwing chartreuse pepper, I believe might be the name of it. It was a rattling Ned from Guggen Baits. He was throwing that, and he was throwing it on a power Ned by 2K Jigs. Not a power Ned, but just a finesse Ned head by 2K Jigs. And he started off, he had his own Ned head, and he showed up and he was throwing it, and he broke it off, and he didn't have his Ned heads with him. So I said, hey, I got the 2K Jig Ned heads, and it was a 1/4 ounce. And I said, I looked at it before, in case he ran out. I said, what size is that? And he said that. And I said, okay, I got a head here for you that'll work if you break that off or something happens. And then he ended up breaking it off. So then he caught the rest of them after he caught his first one on the 2K Jigs finesse Ned head. So that was pretty cool. He really got confidence in that. And he's probably going to order more because it's got a great hook keeper on it there, if you can see that. Keeps your baits up, keeps those from sliding down, especially that elastic material. It slides up there good and keeps it from coming off. Even the stuff that's not elastic, it keeps it up there well. So let's get into what we had. We got first place with 3 pounds. Actually, we tied. There was a 4-way tie for first place. Wow, we had 3 pounds even. Yes, on 5 fish, 3 pounds even. It was a grind to catch big fish. This pit is full of little fish. I haven't done a pit breakdown on it, but it is just full of little bitty fish. 10 to 12 inch bass. It's hard to get one over, and I don't think anybody caught one in the slot, which is 13 to 15 inches. Nobody got one over 15 inches. So there was a 4-way tie for first place. So how that's broke down, how that tournament is ran, Columbus Bass Club, they go by your most fish at first, and then all of us had 5 fish that was tied for first place. So the next tiebreaker was the biggest bass. So we had a 12-ounce bass, which was our biggest fish, and it was actually tied for biggest fish of the tournament. And then the next biggest fish was 11 ounces. Actually, there was 2 teams with 11-ounce basses, so there was another tie for the second place. So, and then the other team had, the one they weighed was 9 ounces. It was one of the first teams, and they didn't think it was going to hold up, so they didn't want to weigh any more big bass for that. So they just weighed the one, which was 9 ounces. For the 3 pounds, which all of them might have been 9 ounces. One of them might have been 10, but they would have been around there because I think 9 ounces comes up right up to 3 pounds. If you times that by 5, I think it's 9.5 or so. So it could be 9 ounces on every fish. So they got 4th place, but that was pretty neat to see a 4-way tie, even with a 5 fish limit. We've had that with the 3 fish limits, but with the 5 fish limit, we didn't know, at the meeting when everybody voted, we didn't know how that was going to hold up, so it's a good thing we put those tiebreakers in place and had that all set for the tournament, and there was no problems, and it's pretty cool that everybody kind of caught them. And I give props to my partner, Kyler. He caught them with the Ned rig. He caught the biggest fish of the tournament, and that's what won us that, and I caught the second biggest fish on the jerkbait later on. Okay, so let's get into this here. The first picture here, the first picture is going to be breaking down, getting you into North Powerline, showing you where that's at, showing you how to get there. It is out on 70th, I believe it is. Yeah, it's just on 70th, just past 80th, I believe. I think that's right. I don't know exactly, but it's where the game warden station is. Go 1 mile pretty much back west, and then it's on the south side of the road. You'll see it there in the picture, zooming it up there. So right here now in this picture is the areas where we caught our fish. The red, that was our best area. That is where we caught our first and second keepers. Kyler caught those, and I missed the first one on a jerkbait, and we think it was the same fish. It looked about the same. It jumped off on me on the jerkbait, and it looked about the same size. It might not have been because there was a lot of fish in there, but we assume it was the same fish. It was pretty much in the same spot when he cast right back up there just a few casts later, right to the same spot with that Ned rig. So we caught our first biggest fish and our second biggest fish out of this area, and we caught 8 altogether out of this area. But the first time we went through there, I'll get into that. I won't drag that on yet. So the red was our best area. Then the green, we caught 1 right there. That was on the crankbait. And then the yellow, we caught 2 there. 1 on a Ned rig, 1 on a jerkbait. And then the blue area, we caught 2 there as well. We caught those on the jerkbait. So now let's get into the red area. I'm going to break this down, and I want to break this down on why they was in this red area. What made this red area so great? It was, let's get in there to the red dots. That is pretty much our catch locations estimated. I don't know exactly where they was, but it was kind of in those general areas all over that little cove right there, little cut right in there. And we caught 8 keepers all together. We missed 1 in there. I don't know if that's the same one Kyler caught or not. We think it was. So it might have been 8, could have been 9 we would have caught out of there. I caught 4 on the jerkbait, and Kyler caught 4 on the Ned rig. It was a great 1-2 punch combination. That Ned rig behind the jerkbait did a great job. Did a great job behind other people. I kept throwing the jerkbait thinking I would get the bigger fish. I was trying to target those bigger ones. I have heard there is some bigger ones out of there. I know last time we fished out of there, we had big bass as well, with a 16 3/4. So I know they was in there, and usually I was thinking that jerkbait would get the bigger fish. It didn't really ever get the biggest fish, but it caught us lots of fish. So that's a good thing. We caught 13 altogether. Now, the second biggest bass came from here, so I'm reading my notes here. Okay, so now this next picture, this is zoomed back out, okay? The red circle is basically the main body of the pit. You put in at the north side, you come back around, and then it kind of opens up right there. As you can see, it's got little fingers and some coves coming off of it there. That's kind of the deeper area right there. And starting to just come out of their winter patterns. They're starting to pull up to pre-spawn, but haven't done it yet. The water temperature was, I believe it was 45 or 46, somewhere around there, 44 to 46. I'm trying to remember exactly. I went to Grand today too as well, so getting that all mixed up in my head. I should have wrote that down yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was 44 to 46 yesterday. So that's the main body right there. So now let's zoom it back in. And we zoom it back in there. Now the red right over there, that is kind of a steeper bank right there. In that picture, you can't tell real well because it's a summer picture and there's some grass mats in there. It's really full of grass, that pit is in the summertime. But if you look at it closer there, that's a steeper bank on that side right there that's in the red, and there's a lot of brush right there. Not a lot, but there's a little bit. There's some you can't see under the water, and then there's one you can kind of see a tree hanging in the water right there. Then even back towards the back on the other side, there's a lot of brush, there's a lot of structure. And then the green area in the back, that is a good flat back in there where those fish can move up there. It's protected, and it's a great spawning cove. Okay, that's my guess. I've never been in there in the spawn, but this is what I think they was moving in there to do. They was getting ready for pre-spawn. They was getting ready to start schooling up and start feeding up. Here, they usually start doing that about 48 degrees to 50 degrees. Right in there is when they start their pre-spawn all the way till about 57, 58 degrees. So they were almost to that point, but they wasn't to that point yet. They're just starting about ready to start be feeding up for the spawn. Because the ones we caught weren't real chunky yet, but usually I didn't really see no eggs in them yet. But they're getting ready for that point. That water's starting to warm up, and they're getting ready for that. But they were still in winter pattern, basically, and they can move back in there in the winter time too, depending on where the bait goes. And so, and there's a long point there too that comes out. I fished that a lot, but I didn't get bit on that point. I'm not sure why. Usually I pull up on those long points in pre-spawn is when they really start pulling up on those before they get ready to spawn. And that's where those big females like to sit, is on those long points I've noticed in the pits. But there wasn't anything on those long points. I tried a lot of them in there and didn't get nothing off of them. I tried them with a crankbait, tried them with a swim bait, tried them with a Ned rig, tried them with a jig, 2K jig. I had a wrecking ball tied on, didn't get a bite on it. They didn't want a jig for some reason. There was a lot of guys that said they didn't. They threw a jig and they just didn't want it in there. They were just, I'm not really sure if it's got big shad in it. I've never seen big shad in it, but the jerk bait worked well. So I'm assuming there's some shad in there and they was feeding on those. And now the white right here. The white is the biggest key to what made this area right here. There was a little bit of wind. There wasn't a whole lot blowing, but there was a little bit of a breeze, and it was blowing into this cove. And that was the biggest factor to this cove. So we went in there to start with, and we caught the two, and I wanted to kind of get around so I didn't miss nothing. And just sat in that area, and I fished around to all the other areas. You'll see those coming up here. And then I left about 40 minutes, I think is what it was, 30 to 40 minutes. I wanted to leave about an hour, but I wanted to hit one more spot, and then it took a little longer to get back there than what I thought it would. So we went back there, and then in the last 30 minutes that we was in there, we caught 5 other keepers, and we caught our other keeper that actually got us that extra ounce we needed. We culled just an ounce or two. I don't know how much it was because I had a culling beam on, but it just barely did it. So that got us our second biggest bass, and it got us to that point we needed to be at. It also, I think we culled 2 of them in there. We had a big one, and then we also had another one that was just barely culled. So we got that done. We got rid of our littlest fish, and we also culled that another ounce. And everything in these pit tournaments with these smaller fish, had some guys say, oh, wow, you guys need to fish new waters, oh, it's 3 pounds. Guys, these are tournaments I love. I love these tournaments that are tough like this. And you got to figure out how to find those bigger bass in those pits that have the smaller bass. It might sound easy, and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, wow, 3 pounds. That don't sound like nothing, but it's a lot. It's actually a lot because you got to figure out how. You just can't go out trying to target a 5-pounder or you're not going to catch nothing. I mean, you could go throw giant baits trying to catch a big fish and just catch nothing. So you got to know how to go finesse and catch the bigger fish at the same time. You got to figure out the best way to catch those bigger 12 and 3/4 inch fish. I mean, and try not to catch them in the slot too. That's another hard part, is if you try to catch them in the slot 13 to 15 inches, we can't keep them. So there's a lot to this chemistry of the pit fishing. And exactly what you got to do to win a pit tournament out here in the Columbus Bass Club. It's not as easy as it sounds. A lot of guys see the weights and they're like, oh, wow, I could do that. 3 pounds, that ain't nothing. But it's very difficult. You got to plan accordingly. I mean, we got 16 pits in the drawing. Some are muddy, some are clean, some got grass in them, some got rocks in them. There's so much that you got to know, and you can't prepare for that because we draw it right at the meeting. They draw the pit out at the meeting right before takeoff. So you just got to try to get ready as everybody else is putting in. And then once everybody's in, then you go fishing. And then you got to make your adjustments as you go along, even if you didn't make the adjustments right once you got to that pit. So you got to try to have it all ready before you go to the pit. So there's a lot. It's a very big mindset going into this, and it's a lot of mind games too, because there's a lot of boats in these pits, and you can see people catching fish, and you got to stay calm and just try to figure out what you got to do to catch the fish. Because once other people start catching them, you start wondering, am I doing the right thing? Do I need to stick with this? Do I need to make changes? So it's a very big mind game out there. You really got to stay calm, or you can really mess it up if your nerves can get shot out there, and it can really affect you, especially once you're seeing those people catch fish. It really gets to you.
There's one, Tyler. Get the net. I don't know how big it is, but not that big. Oh! That's my luck. Just missed one. All right. Give me the boat. Man, they're swallowing that, Kyler. I'm gonna have to put one of those on.
Means they like it.
Yeah, they like it. I like it like that. I don't think we gotta measure him.
No.
Got one? Give me the boat. Give me the boat. All right. We're on board. Well, we got one. We got points anyway.
Got points.
We got points, maybe, if he ain't too long. If he ain't too long. He's too big. If we don't flop in the water, the way our luck's going, Kyler. All right. We got one. That might be a good one, Kyler. Getting that. Nope, not a good one. Just felt big. Nope, ain't caught nothing on jerkbait. That's what, with jerkbait fish, you never know. It's like, they feel big.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it, ooh, that might be better, Kyler. Maybe not. I don't think that's going to help us any. There's no point wasting time. Pretty sure they're all bigger than that. Need a big one. Oh, that one might, that's good. Good. Don't run it all the way up. Can break your rod tip. Barely had him.
You realize you started coming out when I realized.
You're beating my butt now. Now this one ought to give us. Got somewhere. Oh, there's one. I don't know if that's any better or not, but nope, ain't no better. That was a real big guy. Must be starting to head back here in a minute. 11:14. We were back at 11. Yeah, we better. We have 20 minutes. There's another one. Oh, that might be a better one, Tyler. That is a better one. Get the net just in case. Pretty sure it's a better one. Yeah.
You like get the net and then like.
Well, I mean, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Okay, it's better to have a 4-pounder, Jen, or 3-pounder not jump off.
So now the next area is the green area. I caught one fish out of there. That is where the red dot is. And I caught that on the rock crawler, and it was right at the boat. I didn't really know, I didn't think about it until I was going back and I was editing the footage, and I seen it was caught right at the boat, and that was on that deeper side over there once again. So that kind of clued me in right there, that they're sitting outside of these pockets on these deeper sides. So that gave me a clue of where they was, but I should have got the clue even more because I did throw that rock crawl a little too much and didn't get another bite on it. I was trying to dig it into the bottom on those longer points still and keep it on the bottom, but that fish bit it right at the boat. Once I went back and watched the footage of it and edited that down, you'll see that here. And it bit it right at the boat, so that should have told me, and I didn't quite think about that right then, but they were suspended. That's why the Ned rig was working. That's why the jerkbait was working. They were still suspended out there. They wasn't on the bottom. That's why the jigs didn't do very good. And that's why any of the bottom baits didn't do real good in there. It was mostly a suspended bait bite.
That tree? That's the fishing line, I think. Yeah. Oh, I got one coming. That was good.
Now, the yellow area is the third area we caught them out of, and we caught two keepers there. I caught one on the jerkbait, and Kyler caught one on the Ned rig. Now, if the wind was blowing the other way in here, I think this area would have been just as good as the other area right there, because it had a little like spawning pocket right there, just to the south right in there where you can see there. And we caught those two back to back. I caught mine and then he caught his, and we have footage of those right there. You'll see those in there. So that told us there, once again, that was kind of on the deeper side, right outside of, there's that little pocket right there. So that told me, okay, I know there's some points around the corner up here, or some pockets up here around the corner. So we'll go up there. So that's what the blue area is down there. And I wanted to get down there, and I really wanted to go hit, there's some riprap at the very end of that, back towards the south and the east over there, but I didn't make it down there because I didn't have time, because I wanted to run back and hit that main area we caught those two out of, which was a good move. So I made that right move there instead of going back to that riprap. Well, I think it was a good, might have been better if I went to that riprap. I might have caught a bigger bass. I might have caught one over 15 inches. I don't know, but everything worked out. I made the right decisions. That's all that matters. Kyler did a great job throwing the Ned rig. I didn't even have that in mind, didn't even have it tied on. So he did that all by himself. That's awesome. It takes two to win a team tournament. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I wouldn't have been up there. I would have not had that 3 pounds, and I wouldn't have had big bass either. We tied for big bass as well. We had to split that. There was two 12-ounce bass weighed in. So we split the big bass pot, and we actually hold big bass of the year right now. Kyler does with 12-ouncers. So, and Travis Hodgson as well. So that's pretty cool. We're sharing that again. We actually shared that last year with Travis. I did. So that's kind of neat to happen. Hopefully a 12-ouncer don't hold up all year. That's going to be some bad fishing if 12 ounces holds up all year.
There's one, Kyler. That might be a good one. I can't tell. Stay down, you son of a buck. Stay down. I don't know how big it is. It ain't that big, but we'll get him in the net so he don't flop off. There we go. Good. We'll get him in there. That's 5 now, huh? You caught 3 and I caught 2.
Now, the blue area, that's the last area that we caught them in, or the other area that we caught the fish in. You'll see the red dots there. I caught them just outside of those 2 points right there, and I missed one, and Kyler missed one as well. We didn't get them hooked. They just swiped at it and didn't get them hooked, so we don't know how big they was. We didn't see them get off, didn't see anything like that. They just hit them there. And I caught those 2 on the Mega Bass 110 jerkbait. That's pretty much it, guys. That is it for this tournament. I don't know if I can break that down any better for you guys. I'll try to think of some better ways to break that down. But those fish were in those areas there. Mainly that cove made the biggest difference of the day, because we caught we caught 13 altogether, and 10 of them came just out of there. So, or how many ever was? 8 of them came out of there. I might have said 10 earlier. I think it was 8. Yeah, 8 of them came out of there. Let me go back and look. Yeah, 8 of them came out of there. I think I might have said 10 earlier. 8 of them came out of that pocket. So that was a great pocket to find, and I utilized that. Glad I went back to it. Just the decision making is huge in these. Choline beams is another big thing, or choline, if you got a scale to scale them out. Choline beams just a little quicker. You could still weigh them and throw them out, but depends on what kind of scale you have, because you don't want an ounce scale, because, I mean, just 1/10 of an ounce here and there, can make a difference, or 2/10 of an ounce. If you cull 5 fish at 2/10 of an ounce, that just, gave you another ounce. So that's very big, the choline beam, or you got to have a scale that, breaks it down into 1/10 of an ounce, so you can just keep culling up as you go. Choline beam just a little quicker. You can see which one real quick that's bigger, get rid of the littlest one, and then keep moving on. So hopefully this video helps you guys. I was glad talking with you guys. I'll be back with a practice report as well on the Grand Lake tournament, and I'll give that to you, and then hopefully I do good next weekend in that. And the next tournament for Columbus Bass Club is March. I believe it's mid-March, right in there, and look forward to fishing it. We did get our first winner, me and Kyler's was his first win in the winter as well. This was my first win in the winter in a Columbus Bass Club event too, so that was pretty neat to get that. That was one of my goals marked off my list for the 2023 season. I got a couple more to go. The YouTube channel is one of them, 1,000 subscribers. Another one is to try and get a top 5 actually in a BFL. So that is my ultimate goal. And I won't get into the goals. We'll get into that later in another video. But I appreciate you guys watching, and look forward to seeing you guys this upcoming weekend and breaking that down for you. First I'll break down the practice report, and then I'll break down, I'll give you a practice report at Grand Lake, and then I'll break down the Grand Lake BFL, how it went. So thanks guys for tuning in.